Hey guys, it's Izzy here, and today I'm doing my November wrap up, telling y'all about all of the books that I read in the month of November. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the one that I finished most recently and go to the least recent. The book that I finished most recently was Did You Hear About Kitty Karr by Crystal Smith Paul. This is nominated for the Goodreads Award for Best Debut Novel and Best Historical Fiction, and I have zero clue how this was nominated. First, we have our main character of Kitty, who was a Mary Sue. I think she is basically Evelyn Hugo if Evelyn Hugo had no bad traits. All the other characters around her obviously were flawed because when there's a Mary Sue, the Mary Sue is perfect. And I was so fascinated by some of these side characters, but obviously they're just side characters. And then at one point in the novel, we get so many new characters, and all those new characters are female characters. And again, underdeveloped, so it was really hard to keep up with those. Atmosphere, this is partly in North Carolina, which the author is from Charlotte, which I am from the Charlotte area. That's being nice, saying I'm from the Charlotte area. There were some parts where I was just like, that doesn't make sense, and the author being from Charlotte, I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. The character is from Wadesboro, and her family work in the seafood industry. If you don't know, Wadesboro is near Charlotte and is about an hour and a half from the ocean, and the family all dies in a seafood boating accident, and I'm just like, how I don't know. And then the writing was, so I did do the audiobook, but I did follow along for the most part, and the writing was lengthy. I'd read 40 pages and felt like I'd read 100 pages, and I was just like, how am I going to make it through this? Thank God I'm doing the audiobook, because I could not have read this physically. Plot was amazing. I just wish everything else had been good so I could enjoy the plot even more, but it did not live up to being an award-winning book for me. But we do have a book that might be my best book of the year, my favorite book of the year. It's between this and Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. It's going to be so hard to decide. And I still have 2 5-star predictions to read this year, so that is crazy that there could be books better than this, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. And I am talking about The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Henri Fannin Jeffers. Oh my gosh, guys, this is a big, chunky, historical, American epic. Characters. Ailey is our main character here, and I didn't really like Ailey as a person. I just didn't, but I loved following her as a character. That's something, you can write an unlikable character like Evelyn Hugo that I was just talking about. You make the reading experience, you can make it worthwhile. I did not like her as a character, but I loved following her story and going on this. We see her from a little girl, like, I don't remember how old, a toddler, all the way up till she's around my age in her mid-20s. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. It's an epic, it's so good. And that's the thing, these characters are so real. They have their flaws, they have their weaknesses, they have their strengths, they have pros to them, I guess. I don't know what the opposite of flaw would be, but there's all that. And even the side characters, I love the relationships that we see here. Oh, I love the relationship she has with her. I think he would be her great uncle, and I love that relationship so much. And the relationships of just family. And that's a thing. In this book, we are seeing flashbacks of the family going all the way back to colonial times to, as I said, to about 2007. So good. Going into the atmosphere, top notch, top notch. This writer knew where she was writing. This story takes place in a fictional town, Chickasetta, Georgia, and then in a place just called as a city. On Wikipedia it says it's based on Washington, D.C., but Washington, D.C. gets mentioned in here. But the whole time I was reading it, I was like, it's Baltimore or it's D.C. I'm not 100% sure, but Wikipedia did say it's Washington, D.C. The writer did her research. The food, the culture, the social and racial norms, and I made so much cornbread while reading this because it got mentioned so much, and I love cornbread. But so many of the characters reminded me of people in my own life, and it's just so amazing when the author can do that. And this was a debut novel, guys. The author is a poet mainly, and you can definitely tell it's very poetic, lyrical, gorgeous writing. And even though it is over 800 or nearly 800 pages, Does not feel like it at all. And again, I did follow with the audiobook as well. And the audiobook, fantastic. So we had that, writing, and then plot. This is everything I've been wanting in a book for so long, following one family from the start of America to the modern day, because that's, if I ever wrote something, I would want it to be something like that, but I don't have the skills like this author does to put it all in a book and have it be well written. Major props to this author. Now we have a short story collection I read, and that is Bird Songs Don't Lie, Writings from the Res by Gordon Lee Johnson. I loved this one as well. This tells what it is like to be a modern day Native American living on a reservation in the state of California. And we see people from all walks of life, all different genders, all different ages, and just how they go about their life being a modern day Native American. And I loved it, but my only complaint was that it was too short. I feel like a lot of these could go on to be full-on novels. I don't know if the author has any intention of doing that, because sometimes they do. But yes, characters, as I said, we got characters from all walks of life, and that was really amazing. Getting to see not what it's like just for one person, but for a lot of different people. And then the atmosphere, I learned so much. I have never read anything about Native Americans from California. I've read about other states, so this was very eye-opening for me. And as I said, the writing, too short. It was too open-ended for me. I am somebody who does not like open-endedness, so I had a hard time with that. And then plot, again, it was just something so new and unique for me. And we also had essay collections at the start, and the writing was just so well done. So I will read any nonfiction or fiction that Johnson puts out. Now, a very popular book, and that is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the last book, to my knowledge, in her Famous Woman quartet, because if it's a quartet, this is the last one. It was good. As you can see, it was not a 5-star like all of her other books in the quartet for me. Character work, I loved Carrie so much. She might be my new favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid character. Absolutely loved her. So fiery, passionate, dedicated, and those are my favorite traits in a person. And again, the great character work. A lot of people view her as the B word. I'm not swearing on my channel. And so she's not really a nice person. But she does have a ton of flaws, but as I said, she's passionate and dedicated, so she has good traits too. And then atmosphere, a new decade that we haven't really seen in any Taylor Jenkins Reid books, as this was in the 1990s mainly. And then writing got repetitive for me, but I do think that could be intentional, because the life of a professional athlete is so much doing the same thing every day, having strict routines, strict schedule, training, tennis, training, and I was like, that's all that's happening. I'm bored. And plot, again, great plot of having to take back what's yours, going back into a career and all of that, showing her dedication and passion, as I keep saying. Definitely a Leo. There was too much tennis for me that it kind of bogged me now, because I don't know anything about tennis. I just know names of famous players, and that's it. But I still did enjoy this, but it's not a new favorite. Let's talk about a book I didn't enjoy. That is Imperium by Robert Harris. This is a historical fiction. Characters, I can tell you what their names were. I can tell you their jobs. Probably not anymore, but when I was reading this, I could. Atmosphere, it was alright, but you really needed to know a lot about Rome and at this time period, so definitely don't go into this if you don't have any background knowledge on these characters or anything, because I didn't have any background knowledge on this time period, this place, these characters. I was honestly so confused. There was not enough world building being done in the book for me to enjoy it. We have another short story collection, and that is The Man Who Swam with Beavers, stories by Nancy Lord. I did enjoy this one as well. It takes so much for people who are writing a short story to make those characters have a grasp on you, because so many times I read novels and the characters just don't. But then somebody can write a 15-page short story and do it, and I'm just like, I don't understand. How does all that work out? I don't know. And then this takes place all over, but it's all based on Alaskan Native American legends, and I feel like that's so fascinating. Again, I learned a lot, and I did enjoy the writing in here. And then lastly, we have Acts of Desperation by Megan Nolan. I did enjoy this, but I do think it'd be even better on reread. I loved going into this character's mind and seeing how relationships work out. I love reading about relationships. If you can't tell, it isn't not just romantic, but all kinds. I loved seeing the relationship dynamics portrayed here and how much growth there is in somebody's life from 18 to, let's say, 25, how much you can grow and change as a person, which I feel like people are always ever changing, but I can only talk for the times that I've lived. But in this book, you can see how much somebody grows as a person during that time. And oh, that's so amazing. Those are all of the books that I read in the month of November. Tell me what books you guys read, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget to leave a turkey emoji in the comments below if you made it through this whole video. Bye!